Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? It is your boy out here, CJ the DJ, coming to you live with a brand new episode of Hustle and Burn. As always, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope everybody had a great week. It is Sunday, so hopefully we can end it off right. You dig? Man, oh man. We got a lot to rip through today. It was absolute mayhem in the NFL. This week, free agency opened up. If you recall, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. The free agency window for signing and actually trading, stuff like that, doesn't actually open until the 13th of March. So we hit that point, and Lord have mercy, man. There is just absolutely too much, going on to actually get through realistically. So really what I'm going to do today is go through my top three moves, just in general or specific in terms of player personnel. But number one on the board, guys, the biggest moves to be made this week, in my opinion, the best moves to be made overall for the team's dynamic, for the quality of play, for getting your team to a point where, you're trying to win games, if you will, and not just kind of throwing in the towel in a rebuild. Number one on my list for the moves that they've made currently, guys, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, honestly, when they traded away Geno Smith, guys, and then DK requested the trade, I was honestly unsure about what was going on in Seattle. And it's clear that at the end of the day, DK may have just not been about kind of what direction that they wanted to go, and they may not wanted to pay him the money that obviously he ended up getting in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. But I love the moves that the Seattle Seahawks have made, guys. These are major moves. This is, again, not a rebuild, which when you trade away a quarterback, when your star wide receiver demands a trade, a lot of organizations are, full rebuild at that point, but not Seattle, man. Seattle traded again Geno for a third-round pick. They now have that. At first, again, I didn't know. They dropped 100 M's, guys, $100 million for Sam Darnold. $100 million, which, in my opinion, Sam Darnold, though I don't think he is, A grade level quarterback, he's a step up from Geno Smith. He showed that last season throughout at the end of the day. If he has the pieces around him, he is going to be quality. He is going to make good plays, and he can win you football games at the end of the day. He won 14 or 15, whatever it ended up being, for the Minnesota Vikings last season, guys. 14 to 15 games, and they didn't want to pay him the money that he wanted. The Vikings are now quarterbackless, basically, because Daniel Jones still hasn't re-signed with them. They got J.J. McCarthy, of course, but did they put all their eggs in his basket? What do the Vikings do? But, again, sticking with Seattle, man, 100 M's for Sam Darnold. Great upgrade from Geno Smith. They made a huge move in bringing in Cooper Kupp. I think, again, guys, when you get these players that are being released from these teams, you think Cooper Kupp's time is up and, he's lost a step. I don't think that's the case. It's as simple as his contract was too big for the Rams to hold on to. They had Puka Nacua, who is just like him as a player realistically and can fit in the same role and position. And so I'm sorry, Coop, you got to get out of here. So, Cooper Kupp, I still feel like has a lot left in the tank and a lot to give, and is a great target for Sam Darnold, who needs great targets, who needs great route runners, who needs just hard players in general, right? Who actually play hard around him to be a quality quarterback. And so I love the pickup. This is just crazy, right? Like Cooper Kupp, and you line him up across from Jackson Smith and Jigba, who really came into his own last season, even with DK there. He made himself a quality target for Geno Smith. But, it shows that Seattle believes in that young star, in Jackson Smith and Jigba, especially with DK being gone. And a fun fact about Cooper Kupp, which I did not know before this week, he is actually from the Seattle area. So really, this is a full circle moment for Cooper Kupp as well, which I think kind of entices him and energizes him even more upon getting let go. Number one, they're in the division, so they're going to play the Rams twice a season, okay? You're going to get to see your buddies, hoo-hoo, rah-rah, kiki, ha-ha, right? And you get to score touchdowns on them, right? And talk that shit. But at the end of the day, he's from there. So I think this is great for him. Shout out to Cooper Kupp being able to go end his career in front of his family at the end of the day, if he sticks it out in Seattle and stays there for the long term. I do think he signed a 4-year deal, something like that, 3 or 4 years. So, he's got some time left in the league. He's going to make plays. Hopefully he can stay a little bit healthier. But on top of that, man, again, you get to play the Rams twice a year. So they're really not rebuilding, guys. Seattle is not rebuilding. They are reloading. Again, they have that third-round draft pick that they got from the Raiders for Geno Smith, right? So shout out to Seattle, man. Absolute great moves. I really think Seattle is actually going to be a player in the conference. That team is just quality, and their defense has always been quality. Their defense has, never really been an issue. It's just that, Geno Smith and the offense couldn't kind of put it together and put the pieces together. They went on a couple runs last season, couple win streaks, but couldn't really put the pieces together. At the end of the day, the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold, with Cooper Kupp lined up across from Jones and Smith and Jigba, that is a very high quality, high power offense. If they can get the run game going, their O-line is not bad, right? Like, their O-line's not bad. They have an all right run game. They've always had an all right run game. So, hey, shout out to Seattle, man. They are number one on my list for moves made this week in free agency. Killed it, Seattle. Front office on point. Number 2 on my list, guys. Number 2 on my list. This is going to be a specific player and the signing of this said specific player. The Chargers quietly got a steal, guys, in Najee Harris to be their running back. This is one of the most, in my opinion, underrated moves of free agency. Like, bro, I don't know how people were sleeping on Najee Harris. At the end of the day, he's had 4 seasons in the NFL. I want people to keep this in mind. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Every single season he's been in the league, he is a 1,000-yard rusher. Whether he's injured, whether he's not. 1,000-yard rusher. Every single season. And Pittsburgh let him walk. That's insane to me. That is absolutely insane to me, bro. Okay? Now, let's give you stats. You know how we like to do. Okay? Last year, the Chargers only had 1,800 total rushing yards, guys. And that was between 2 to 3 running backs that they had in the rotation due to injuries, right? So you add Najee Harris to this offense, it immediately, guys, makes their offense more serious in terms of a run game, okay? Which opens it up, of course, for Herbie, right? Like, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. And I think realistically, they do still have some cap space with the moves that they kind of made. So I don't think that the Chargers are done. I think if they sign a solid wide receiver or they draft potentially a good rookie wide receiver that you can kind of, pan out to pair with Justin Herbie, watch out for the Chargers, man. Watch out for the Chargers. Again, guys, as I've mentioned before, they took this team last year to the playoffs, okay? And they were not that good offensively. Let's be real. Their defense is on point already. So that's down pat. They're just bolstering up the offense, all right? Now, again, I mentioned them if they sign a solid wide receiver that kind of pans out for Herbie. Let's put this out there. Why not, speaking of wide receivers, bring back a familiar face for Justin Herbert? Keenan Allen. The Chicago Bears this week, guys, and we'll get into it, they quietly signed a couple different wide receivers to the roster to essentially replace Keenan Allen, who will no longer be re-signing with the Chicago Bears. He already publicly said if he doesn't go to the Chicago Bears to re-sign, he's going back to LA, whether it be the Rams or the Chargers. That is where he's from. That's where he played his entire career. That is what he already publicly said he wants to do. So, at the end of the day, I'm just saying, I could see Keenan Allen going back to LA to play under Jim Harbaugh as a veteran presence. He has size, he has experience, he knows Justin Herbert. He knows a lot of the guys that are probably still in Los Angeles on the Chargers because he was only away for a season out in Chicago. Hey, boys, I had to try it out. Yeah, hey, come on, don't be mad. I had to try it. You know what I mean? You had to try it out. You had to test out the waters, if you will. All right, but hey, boys, I see you. Y'all did your thing. Now let me help out this season. And if you pair him with bro, I'm telling you, again, the Najee Harris edition changes things up, and that's a hardball. You know that they are down pat old school football coaches. They love their defense. They're going to make sure and just beat you down on the defensive side. But offensively, they do like to run the ball, right? Like, that's kind of their bread and butter. Not so much with the Ravens at Harbaugh, just because he has Lamar. That's a little bit different. But he treats Lamar like a running back, if you will, right? Like, that's their offense at the end of the day and what these guys like to do. So with Najee Harris signing to the Chargers, man, all that they need to do now is get a wide receiver to pair with Palmer, who is known for dropping passes, within everything. He had a better season. Again, we've chatted about him. He had a better season last season in terms of dropping passes. But still, if you can bring back Keenan Allen, get a familiar face for Herbie to throw to, you draft maybe a 3rd, 4th round wide receiver, one of these little cats out of, one of these little young schools out here. I've been putting it out there, these CU wide receivers, Jimmy Horn Jr., great wide receiver, going to go in the late rounds. That'd be a great pickup for any team, but especially the Chargers, man. So, Chargers, guys, Los Angeles, number 2 on my list for moves made this first week of free agency. Number 3 on the list, guys, I got the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, guys, they are building the Great Wall of Chicago. The Great Wall of Chicago, man, on this offensive line. Haven't really made too many flashy moves, but they're building something special where it matters most. Again, the offensive line, guys. Last week on the pod, I mentioned that Kansas City Chiefs has actually traded an offensive lineman, a veteran offensive lineman. They traded that O-lineman to the Bears, okay? To save cap space for themselves. But the Bears got him, all right, and they didn't stop there. They've added 2 more massive linemen to protect Caleb Williams. And this shows, Chicago is doing things the right way, guys. And why, I really love this. Again, it's nothing flashy that they're doing, but they're bolstering up their offensive line because they know he was out there running for his life and scrambling a lot, which makes your rookie quarterback look bad because he's trying to make plays happen, right? When everyone's just saying throw the ball away, but he doesn't want to give up. He's a football player, right? It's just what happens at the end of the day, especially for a young mind and a young player trying to do too much and overexert himself within the league like Caleb was clearly trying to do this year, right? It just shows Chicago, guys, is doing things the right way a lot of times, and we've seen the narrative. Tom Brady's even now come out and said it publicly that these rookie quarterbacks get onto the field too early. And, I agree that can be a problem, okay? But I think on the flip side of that coin is exactly what you're seeing in Chicago. If you truly believe he is the future, then you have to build around him from day one. You have to. You have to get the offensive line to make sure that he's protected. You have to get the wide receiver pieces, which they already have. They already have them. The last piece for Chicago, realistically, guys, is the offensive line and protecting Caleb Williams. Like, that's exactly what the Bears are now doing. And so essentially at this point, you got the wide receivers, you got DeAndre Swift at running back. At the end of the day, you now have the offensive line to protect you. Now, if Caleb Williams succeeds, they're set for years. And the front office of the Chicago Bears just did one of the greatest free agencies and off seasons that they've had in goddamn 50 years, right? Like, realistically speaking. But on the flip side of that, again, if he fails, if they do all of this now as the organization and he fails, at least they gave him a shot to make it possible. Now you're able to wipe your hands and say, okay, Caleb didn't pan out. We gave him everything. He had the running back, DeAndre Swift, who was great in Philadelphia. He had the wide receivers, young too, Romo Dunns, Keenan Allen, another one, I forget his name, the other young wide receiver that they have, right? Like, you had all the pieces, my boy. You even had a great tight end. Goddamn. Like, and if you now have the O-line and you still fail, they're able to wash their hands. I think they do need a little bit of help at running back. I think DeAndre Swift could use a little help. In the backfield. He struggled last season, but again, remember, he was great in Philadelphia where he had an offensive line. So I think bolstering up the O-line now opens up the run game for DeAndre Swift even more this season, which opens up the pocket and passing and play action and everything for Caleb Williams. So shout out to the Bears, man. They're firmly, in my opinion, as of right now, just optics-wise with the moves that they've made, they're firmly in the mix in their division as well as the conference. Next season, man. Shout out to the Bears and what they're doing. Very excited for them. Shout out to this wild free agency, man. The league is shaken up completely. League-wide, this is the most exciting upcoming NFL season. I think, as we creep to it, guys, I think already just with the moves that are being made, this is one of the most exciting upcoming NFL seasons in a very long time, and we're not even to the draft yet. Like, we don't even know what rookie quarterbacks are going to go where, what's Travis Hunter going to do. Like, we don't even know where these guys are going to land, and it's already very exciting just based off the free agency moves and the new mixes, the new faces, and everything that's going on, man. So, shout out to the league. That's the 3 that I got for this week. The top 3 biggest moves for me that I loved from these teams that they made, man. Shout out to the Bears. Shout out to the Chargers. And, of course, shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. Let's get into some music. I got to get into some music, yo. Playboi Carti. He dropped his new album, I Am Music. That was the title of it. I am honestly, guys, not a Carti fan, okay? So I got to listen more than once to this album before I can give it an actual, honest, genuine rating. I feel like it would just be biased to me as a non-fan of him listening on first try to be like, oh, that's a 6, that's a 7, So I got to give it an honest review. But What I will say is on first listen, there are a couple bangers on this joint. There is a couple bangers on here, yo. So, you know, when those bangers come on, I'm in my vamp era for sure. I'm in my vamp era with my boy Carti for sure. You know, and on there, I do want to point out one specific song. If anyone wants to go take a listen, of course, there's one specific song on there with The Weeknd. It's called "I'd Rather Lie." And this song is honestly just a classic for both artists. Like, just in terms of the music, guys. Again, you know I just love great music. Like, I love when people put great tracks together on a great beat. Everything comes together, and it's just time. Like, this is a classic song for both Playboi Carti, but as well as The Weeknd. This song, in my opinion, should and could go #1 for a very long time, especially because, you know, it's Carti mixing his shit with the mainstream, and then you top that with The Weeknd, who's obviously in like the Taylor Swift Drake category in terms of numbers, right? This song is going to be pretty big. Rather Lie, this album is going to be big. That's not the only one. He's got one on there with Kendrick Lamar that Kendrick features on. Kendrick features on a couple, and honestly, Kendrick featured on this one song called Backdoor. Fire, slappers, K Dot. That's what I need more of, my boy. Just them vibes, my boy. Just the vibes, my boy. Keep Drizzy Drake out of this, all right? Keep Drizzy Drake out of this. That's all I need. I need that fire K Dot. He's on a run. I'm excited based on these features to hear more K Dot. I love it. Like, this is what I've been saying. He's got to stay consistent. And hey, he's stepping up to the plate. So shout out to Carti, man. Shout out K Dot for the feature. Shout out The Weeknd for the fire ass feature on there, man. There's about 4 tracks that I'm really stuck on and hooked on first listen. But again, I got to go back. It's just a really different vibe. For those of you that haven't listened to Playboi Carti, this shit is heavy, bro. Like, this shit is really like heavy, genre bending. Like, it's just crazy, bro. Like, and you got to have an ear for it. And, you know, for some of the tracks, I just don't have an ear for it at the end of the day. But that's just me. So again, I'm going to speak on it. You know, I'm gonna listen to it, I should say. I'm gonna listen to it more before I speak on it more in depth in terms of the tracks, and give, you know, a review on a scale of 1 to 10 for y'all, on what I think. But there's a couple bangers on there, so go listen to that album if you haven't. Playboi Carti, guys. I Am Music. Somehow, you know, Carti, again, whether I'm a fan or not, has weaved himself into being a generational figure within the genre and within the culture. Whether you listen to Playboi Carti, whether you've even heard of Playboi Carti, I am telling you, this is one of the biggest artists in the entire genre of hip-hop. This guy has a crazy cult following. He's wild. And his music shows it, but he's got some bangers, man, generational. So, you know, and speaking of another generational, if you want to go there, artist, Tory Lanez, man. Tory Lanez was locked up, of course. Being falsely accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion and getting smear campaigned all over, etc. in the media. Y'all know how that went. Of course, we all watched it happen in front of our eyes. He dropped a new album this week, ladies and gentlemen, which was recorded directly and entirely from prison. The first of its kind to hit the mainstream market, man. Shout out to Tory for that. That is actually super fucking dope. The quality of the tracks is actually not half bad. It's kind of wild to me. Obviously, you can tell he's on a jail phone and a jail call, which is just crazy to me. But it's a genuine whole album by Tory Lanez from a jail phone, bro. And it's actually got a couple slappers on it, man. The production on this shit is crazy. So, you know, his project actually it's projected to sell 30,000 copies first week, yo, which is absolutely wild. For someone who is locked up, has been locked up, and is essentially canceled, if you will, or they tried to cancel him, you know. But it's because it's Tory Lanez, yo. Just like The Weeknd, guys, just like Drake. These Canadian motherfuckers be making hits, yo. If you didn't know, Tory Lanez is Canadian. If you didn't know, The Weeknd is Canadian. These motherfuckers are from Canada, just like Drake. Just like Drake, bro. But these motherfuckers make hits on hits, bro. And so, you know, that's why you see, when you see a 30,000 first week and he's canceled, it's like, bro, this is cross-border stuff. Like, Tory's got everything over there. And I'm telling you, something is going to be building up in Toronto, bro. Like, Toronto is going to be a new hub of the hip-hop culture and the hip-hop industry. If you don't see that happening, guys, you're not paying attention to the actual, you know, workings of everything, right? Like Drake has now branched off. All right, you ain't fucking with me, ATL, or at least Savage is, but you ain't fucking with me. All right, Cali ain't fucking with me. And I still got some connects in NY. I still got some connects in Florida. We straight, but I'm going to stay up here in Toronto. And he's about to build it out in Toronto. Tory's going to be a part of that. Tory and Drizzy are cool, of course. Tory's pretty cool with The Weeknd, if I'm not mistaken, as well. The Weeknd and Drake aren't cool. But at the end of the day, Toronto has some things moving, man. Canada is really coming up. And I hope they get to free Tory soon, man. We all see, you know, it was clear cut, right? Like, it was clear cut, other people, their opinions, feelings about him directly, and him going against like the industry and going independent as an artist, and what he did with his NFT album, selling it for $1 and selling 1 million copies. He made, for those that don't know, Tory Lanez during COVID, guys, and when NFTs and all that kind of like, not crypto, if you will, but the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, the shit that you could buy with crypto that was just a picture online or a card, whatever the case may be, back when that was extremely huge during COVID times, Tory Lanez actually made and created a whole album and put it on an ETF and sold it to his fans independently, just him, because he wasn't signed to a label anymore, and sold 1 million copies within a day because it was only $1, right? Like, everyone's going to go on there and, oh, it's $1. He made 1 million plus. And he bragged about it online. He's like, y'all don't see I just I just cracked the fucking code. We don't need no label. We don't need no middleman. We don't need no fucking Spotify. We don't need no Apple Music. The fuck is that? We go straight to the consumer, direct with this shit. He's like, y'all don't see I cracked the code? 3 to 6 months later, Tory Lanez locked up, being accused of shooting Meg Thee Stallion. His fingerprints ain't on the gun. Somehow this nigga found guilty. Who knows how this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, I'm just saying, bruh, free Tory Lanez. I hope when he gets out, man, he continues to, you know, do what he's been doing and continue to be a generational talent and, you know, just be a voice within the genre. His voice and everything and his tracks, the way that he's able to work the melodies as well as the raps, as well as the lines and punch bars and flows, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. These Canada boys is something different. I'll even give it up to The Weeknd. That boy is different. That boy is different, man. He can really do it in multiple ways. Pause. But, yeah, that's the music for y'all this week, man. Let's get into the investment rap of the week. You know, the markets, honestly, were still getting slaughtered for the most part this week. Elon Musk Tesla was down like over 35%, getting absolutely smacked up, bruh. Smacked up. Tesla was getting smacked up, but, you know, guys, I need everyone to really understand this, okay? The market is being absolutely slaughtered, but I want you to understand this is when future millionaires, this is when future retirement accounts, shit like that, this is when they are made, guys. Is when the markets are getting slaughtered like this. When there's these huge corrections in the market. I don't want to say this is a, you know, downturn in the market. I don't want to say that it's flipping. I still, again, I've told you guys I don't see that yet, but it could be happening at the end of the day. We'll see. But this is when future millionaires, future retirement accounts are made, guys. I'm dead ass serious. I am dead ass. Even if you don't want to invest right now, like let's say you're just like, CJ, I love that you talk about investing, but you know, honestly, I just don't want to invest right now. Now is the time to take the easy way out. And what I mean by the easy way out is now's the time to set up that 401k. Now's the time to set up that Roth IRA. Now's the time to put a boatload of money into those stocks and just let them ride and sit. Take the easy way out. Do just one lump sum, put it in, boom. Or open a 401k. Have your check put $100 in a month, whatever the case may be. Now is the time. Because even if these stocks start to go down, again, guys, as we've been talking about, you know how this goes. We've talked about NVIDIA. We've talked about Palantir. They were on crazy runs. They were on crazy runs, guys, and they were still a buy. Every analyst was still saying 2.5 to 4 weeks ago, buy NVIDIA, buy Palantir. They are absolute bangers at these prices, above $100, whatever the case may have been. Now they're down 10, 20%, and I'm supposed to somehow think that they're not a buy. When they were up 10 to 20% and they were a buy up there, now I'm supposed to think they're not a buy. And within the last 2 weeks, something has happened to the company to change that overall trajectory and narrative. Every single day, as I've been mentioning, there's a new headline about a company or a country investing in America. These companies are making breakthroughs, guys. Google, Meta, Apple, all these companies, Nvidia, Palantir, they're making breakthroughs in quantum computing, things of that nature. They're breaking revenue records even at some of these companies right now and continuing to grow in the tech, the AI, the quantum. They're not going away, as I've been saying. Now is the time, guys, to invest for the future. In 3 to 5 years, I promise you, every stock on the chart, almost every, I don't want to say every stock, but you know what I mean. Every stock on the chart that we've been talking about will be higher than it is right now. Every single stock that we've been chatting about will be higher in 3 to 5 years than it is right now. That's almost guaranteed. I promise you Apple will be bigger. I promise you Nvidia will be bigger. I promise you Palantir, Meta, even Tesla and X, I promise you they will all be bigger in 3 to 5 years. And if you don't see that, you're absolutely crazy. Like one day this week, $1 trillion got wiped out of the market. The next day, on Friday to end the week, guess what? $1 trillion got added into the market. The best day of 2025, miraculously. Duh, bro. People see it. These are ridiculous prices for these stocks. Are you crazy? For these companies? Are you insane? 2 weeks ago, again, they were up 10 to 20%, bro, for some of these shits. And now you're trying to tell me I shouldn't buy? And come on, bro. Like, it's like, come on, pay attention, guys. If you've been listening to the investment raps, you should be seeing this stuff. If you actually have been paying attention and looking, you should be seeing this shit, man. It's very, very clear. And right now we are in an extreme bull market versus bear market fight. And what that means is, you know, the upwards trajectory versus the downwards trajectory. For those that aren't familiar with the terms, I won't, you know, get into it and dub it down too much, but we're in a huge bull versus bear fight right now, guys. But again, these companies aren't going anywhere. And what I wanted to point out to you guys within the investment wrap of the week this week is I really want to make clear how Nvidia and Palantir, especially, guys, those two companies specifically are unicorns, okay? And the reason that I say that they're unicorns is it's that most new companies or you know, smaller time companies don't even make it this far like Nvidia and Palantir did, okay? Most similar companies that are on the come up and they're getting brought up, they're getting bought out by Apple, by Amazon, by Google, by Microsoft, by, you know, IBM, all these companies, they're getting purchased and bought out. Nvidia and Palantir are the unicorns, okay? And so they get bought out before they become real competition in most of these cases. These smaller AI companies, these smaller tech companies. Mark Zuckerberg just says, here's fucking 500 million, bro, go away. Thank you. Here's the patent. I'm going to put that on a shelf. Goodbye. That's literally what they do, okay? It's monopolizing the industry. They've gotten sued for it and shit. Amazon has gotten sued for it. Like, you know, they've monopolized this industry, guys. There's a few big companies, and those are the big companies at the end of the day I truthfully do believe in because they are going to be around. It's clear as day, right? So I'm buying all of these companies who are at the forefront of all of these things in all of these industries, okay? They already have connections now with the government. We just saw at the presidential election, all the tech billionaires sitting there behind him, right? So they all have connections to the government. It's clear as day what to do, guys, and who to do it with, in my opinion, in terms of your investing, your portfolio, and realistically, especially right now, how seriously you should be taking it. And even if you're taking the easy way out and just doing a retirement, that is fine. But do it. Set up the 401k. If your job doesn't offer it, go to your bank and ask them about a 401k and setting it up. This is extremely important, guys. These prices are extremely important and extremely high value prices for a lot of these companies, man. All right? So, hey, at the end of the day, man, like y'all know, we talk real life on this pod. And if y'all ain't seeing what I'm seeing, you're out of touch. And you're just not paying attention to real world and real life, which is all we get into on the pod. And you know this, man, Smokey. Y'all see they put the Fridays on Netflix. Had to get into them. And you know this. Anyways, man, that is the investment wrap of the week for y'all, man. And I hope y'all really, really listen to that one because that has some gems in it, guys. That has some real gems. If you need to rewind, go back, whatever the case may be, and re-listen to the investment wrap of the week. Make sure that you grasp exactly what I'm saying and exactly what you should be doing. Whether you're on having a boatload of money that you want to invest, or whether you're on I have minimal money, but at the end of the day, I do want to try and get set up for my future, for myself, for my family, for my kids, whatever the case may be. These things are important, guys. And if no one tells you about these things, I promise you, you're not just going to wake up one day and be like, huh, do you think I should invest in Google? No, it's not going to happen unless someone gives you that information. That's what I try and come here to do, man. I'm going to give y'all a weekly gem, man. I'm going to give y'all a weekly gem. Y'all know I like to, give y'all some gems on the pod sometimes. This week, man, I have to put this out there. It's something that I believe in strongly, and I feel like everyone should look into it. Just on a personal note, and that thing that I'm bringing up, and again, I just give you guys things to kind of put it out there, put it in front of you so you can do whatever you want with it, is numerology, guys. Numerology, this is the belief in the universe, energies, frequencies, and guys, I'm not going to get too in depth into it and act like I'm some guru or I know all about this stuff. But a lot of times, a lot of the things that are mentioned are highly accurate or scarily accurate, realistically, in terms of characteristic traits and things like that to be able to be described. So this is what I want you guys to do this week. Take your date of birth, guys. I want you to take your date of birth. So for example, my date of birth, 06/28/1998, 1998. I want you guys to add that date of birth up one number by one number. So take your date of birth and add it up one number by one number. So for me, it'd be 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. Now, when you get to a two-digit number, guys, what you're going to do is reduce it to 1. So again, I said 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. Reduce that to 7. So 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 9, etc., guys, okay? You're going to get to either a double number. Anytime you get to a double number, guys, okay, you are going to reduce it to a single digit. Meaning if you land on the number 23 after you add up all the numbers, you are going to reduce that to 5, okay? The only time you do not reduce it to a single digit is if you land on 11, 22, or 33. If you land on 11, 22, or 33, you do not reduce that number to a single digit, and I promise you should look that up. And look up the characteristics of those individuals, see if it fits. But again, guys, mine, in my life path, I come up with a 7 life path. And I'm a 7 life path, which I truthfully believe in to be the case. I know other people within my own personal life that I know that are also 7 life paths that I feel like are very similar, scarily similar realistically. Again, guys, you go do this exercise. Just go add your date of birth up number by number. Whatever 2 digits you get, reduce them to one number, and that's your life path number. Unless it's 11, 22, or 33, you do not reduce it. So you should always end up with a number 1 through 9, unless you are at 11, 22, or 33 at the end of your date of birth, okay? If you are, again, go look those up, 11, 22, 33, very special numbers, very special energies. But I'm just telling you guys, I challenge everyone listening, add up your date of birth, find your single digit number 1 through 9, or again, if you're 11, 22, or 33, go search what the characteristics of that specific individual are and see how accurate they are. I guarantee you, I guarantee 90% of people, if they actually go do it, it's going to be accurate. It's going to be accurate, man. This stuff is crazy. Again, I'm not some guru. I don't live and die by this shit. I'm not waking up like, what day is it? It's February 8th. And no, doesn't matter at the end of the day. But I think it is just important to kind of, peep those certain things as we maneuver and continue to grow in life, man. So, continue to be great. Continue to, be the best you that you can be for yourself, for the people around you. Like we've been mentioning and talking about, we got to do our best to stay positive through every trial and tribulation. Continue to walk miles with no destination, realistically, man. That's all we can do. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been an episode of Hustle and Burn. It is your boy CJ the DJ.